Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I'm annoyed as shit, y'all. How you guys doing? Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good hump day. Uh, for those of you who are new to the show, this is our morning show, so technically this is our Wednesday show. So it is hump day. Get out there and hump. Get lots of humping in because, well, it helps. So I woke up, right? I go to sleep. I've been sleeping all day. A rough day. But yeah, so I wake up, I come over here to my computer, and I immediately get annoyed. Immediately. Because I see all of the stuff about the omnibus package. And we'll get into that piece of shit here in a little while. The omnibus package, this desperately needed government funding bill that's going to spend way too much. $45 billion on Ukraine, guys, to keep your government going. We'll get to that in a couple of moments. But before that, as I was getting ready for the show, the news comes across the wire that in the dead of night here, at just about 11 o'clock this evening, the House Ways and Means Committee has voted to release Donald Trump's taxes. For the record, Washington, D.C. is on the West Coast. Washington, D.C. is on the East Coast. It's on the East Coast, so it's 11 o'clock p.m. East Coast time that these shitbags, right before they lose control, before they lose power in the House, have voted to release Donald Trump's taxes just because. There's no good reason for it. There's no explanation that makes sense on why it has to happen. So here's what's going on. The House Ways and Means Committee has been investigating why the IRS wasn't auditing Donald Trump. Why didn't you guys audit? You're supposed to do this. It's in your rules. That's what they say. You're supposed to audit him. And there were no audits done in 2017 and 18. And it wasn't until April of 2019 when the House Ways and Means Committee chairperson wrote to the IRS and said, why aren't you doing this, that they started doing it. By the way, there's no evidence that his taxes were wrong. There's no evidence that the audit found anything wrong, but they have been doing it since then. But we had to have a big old investigation. And this is where several of the lawsuits have come in where Congress is like, we need his taxes. And Trump's like, I'm not giving you my fucking taxes. And the courts got involved and said, sorry, you got to give up your taxes. And I told you then. I told you that the only reason they were doing this is so that they could force tax releases because Donald Trump said he wouldn't do it. That's the only reason this happened. This has nothing to do with any illegality at all. They weren't actually looking for anything illegal at all. They didn't find anything illegal at all. But they voted on a partisan basis to release Donald Trump's 2015 to 2020 taxes. Redacted, of course, with some redactions. All of this is nothing more than a fuck you to Donald Trump for having the nerve to beat Hillary Clinton. Michiru, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michiru. Happy birthday to you. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sure I did not, but happy birthday either way. Yeah, this is nothing more than a show of force because we could. That's all it is. The only surprise here is that these motherfuckers had the balls to put their names on it. I expected this to be leaked. I'm using air quotes, leaked. Because the Southern District of New York, they got their hands on a little bit of it. Congress got their hands on it, and either one of them, it wasn't enough. So I was expecting that. I was expecting it to just be, oh my God, it was leaked. But no. These assholes are actually putting their names on it, which for them is more, is braver than they've ever been. And yeah, these assholes are just going to do this. This is an illegal act. Under any other circumstance, you could not leak somebody's taxes without their permission. It's illegal to do so. But you see, you get Congress involved, and now they can do it legally by just taking a vote. And why? Why? Well, there's no real reason. There is no compelling public interest. There's no underlying facts of a crime. No reason at all. And what really set me off on this, because I was mad when I saw it, but what set me off, and I should have known, was how the press has reacted so far. They're basically cheering it on. This is an abuse of power, and they are cheering it on. I get it. I know we've gotten to the point where the press is so partisan that you might as well be listening to DNC releases anytime you hear somebody from the legacy media talk. I get that. But there's still part of me that believes every once in a while that these shitbags will actually stand up to their whole speaking truth to power bullshit. And when they see something like this, go, whoa, that's not a good idea. This is a really bad thing you guys are doing here. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. The people who've been releasing this stuff so far, oh my God, their stories are so ridiculous. Ah, should we just go over one real fast? Let's check the Reuters one. Why Reuters? Because they blocked me on Twitter before I got kicked off. They're a bunch of cunts, so we'll use them. I'll make fun of their dumbasses. That's true. I got blocked by Reuters news service. Ain't that some shit? Who gets blocked by a news service? Me. All right. U.S. House Committee to release redacted Trump tax filings. A U.S. House of Representatives Committee, it's the Ways and Means Committee, voted on Tuesday to release partially redacted tax filings for the former president. Now, when they say partially redacted, what we're probably going to see redacted is like his home address. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to redact this part of it because that's personal information about his tax filings. No, it's not. Anyway, sorry. The House Ways and Means Committee voted to release a summary of Trump's tax returns between 2015 and 2021, the years when he was running for president and serving in the White House. Now, here's one part where we see a little bit of their how do I want to say this? Because I don't want to give them too much credit here, but a little discretion, because what they wanted, what everybody wanted. Ooh, that's really loud in my ear. I need to turn that down. What everybody wanted was the 4 to 8 years before he ran for president, and they're not releasing that. And I have a feeling that even here, it's because they're being giant pussies. They're like, well, I mean, at least this is somewhat related, even though it's not. 2015 has nothing to do with the investigation. I told you they were looking at presidential audits, which would only be 2017 forward. But they are releasing a couple years prior because he was running for president at that point. That makes no sense, but hey, they got a little bit in there, right? They got a little bit. Oh, I'm angry and I'm overly exaggerated. I'm so sorry. It's genuine. I promise you. I am this fucking angry. I probably should have waited a little while before I did a stream. Keldrick, thank you so much. Getting blocked by Reuters is quite the accomplishment. Congrats. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't even know what I said to them to piss them off either. But yeah, they blocked me, little bitches. House Ways and Means Committee voted to release the summary of his 2015 to 2021, the years he was running for president and serving in the White House. Panel members said that could lead to more unwelcome scrutiny for the president as he mounts another White House bid. Dun, dun, dun. This is an incredible abuse of power by the House Ways and Means Committee of a party on their way out of power at the 11th hour, literally before they lose power. I mean, like, seriously, this is almost the last thing they can do. They only have till Friday, and then they go on Christmas break, go to the new year, and then the new Congress comes in. They're out of time. They're out of power. And they're like, oh, we got to get this done quick. There's no reason for this. Anyway, sorry. And note, there's no, hey, yeah, this is probably a bad idea. The only time that you'll read in a story about this that it might be a bad idea is when they're quoting the the minority party who was on the committee were like, yeah, this is a really bad fucking idea. This is a horrible precedent to set. But you will not see the news talk about that. You won't see them being like, yeah, this is a bad fucking idea, which it is. But the committee also said the U.S. Internal Revenue Service did not follow its own rules when it failed to audit Trump's tax returns during 3 years of his 4 years in office. Members said Congress should pass a law to strengthen the presidential audit program. So here's what's going on there. There are rules in the IRS. I don't know them. I haven't looked them up. This is all I know about this is from seeing it in these stories. IRS rules that say you have to audit the president of the United States. Okay, not laws, and those are different things. Those really are different things. But anyway, no, Faithless. I have a better idea. Faithless says Republicans incoming should release all of Joe's then. No, Faithless, you're thinking too small. Incoming House Republicans should release all of Hunter's. Not Joe's, Hunter's. Let's look at Hunter's tax returns. You guys want to play that game? Let's look at Hunter's tax returns. Let's see how this motherfucker has justified all that money he spent on hookers. Anyway, but the committee also said that the Internal Revenue Service didn't follow its own rules when it failed to audit Trump. Members said Congress should pass a law. What people will likely be surprised about is the extent to which the IRS was not conforming to their own rules. Democratic Representative Dan Kildee told reporters. Okay, all right, stop right there. Stop right there. The IRS was not following its own rules. Fine, gotcha. Why do I need to see Donald Trump's tax returns to know that? You guys have the information of whether or not he was audited. That's all you have to let us see. Did he get audited? No, then they weren't following their rules. There's the story. Why do we need to see Donald Trump's? Make no mistake. This has nothing to do with the IRS not auditing him. This has always been about an excuse to get their hands on his tax returns so that they could release him because they don't like being told no. Because Donald Trump never released his tax returns. He said he was gonna. I don't give a shit. He doesn't have to. You want to say he's a liar? Fine, he's a liar. He said he was going to do it and never did. But fair enough. But he didn't have to do it. And they were angry about that. They've been angry about that since. Go look at any tweet about this right now and look at the number of people going, finally what? Finally what? You find out that he's not making very much money because he really hasn't. We'll get to that in a little bit. The IRS did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Well, yeah, they're all asleep at home because this shit happened at 11 o'clock at night. Is the IRS even open right now? Committee Chairman Richard Neal, a Democrat, said a redacted summary of Trump's tax returns would be released within days. Democrats have little time to react as Republicans are due to take control of the House in January. You know what they didn't say right there? Why it would be released in days. Why are you releasing any of it? Yeah, we're going to give a summary of his tax returns in a couple of days. Anybody at the press that was there say, excuse me, why are you doing that? Why are you releasing this? What's the point? It's not clear whether the material would shed light on potential conflicts between Trump's real estate holdings and his actions as president, or how much tax he paid on the hundreds of millions of dollars his businesses earned while he was president. Lawmakers said the returns were scant on details. Well, here's the thing. He basically stepped away from all of that. It was all put into trust and in his children's name. He was taking his presidential salary was being donated in its entirety to different areas of the government. They're trying to justify it. I think you'll be surprised by how little there is, Democratic Representative Lloyd Doggett told CNN. I won't, because I paid attention. Kevin Brady, the panel's top Republican, told reporters that some of those returns were still being audited, so it's not clear how much tax Trump owed. Like other committee Republicans, he voted against the release on the grounds that it could set a bad precedent. No, 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 no. It does set a bad precedent. It absolutely does. 2 reports will be released later on Tuesday night, committee members said, one from the committee itself and one from the Joint Committee on Taxation, a nonpartisan body that analyzes impacts of tax provisions in legislation. This has nothing to do with needing to release his taxes. Gee, are you getting that? None of this has to do with anything to do with needing to release those. They will include a memo from Neal on the purpose of the original request for Trump's tax returns, the audit notes, and proposals for legislations to codify the presidential audit program into law, committee members said on Tuesday night. Alan, thank you so much for the $1. Hope you're well, my friend. Thank you for the donation with the message. Trump, unlike previous presidential candidates, refused to make his tax returns public as he sought to keep secret the details of his wealth and the activities of his real estate company, the Trump Organization, and he fought Democrat efforts to get access to them. They're his. He doesn't have to share them. In fact, it's illegal for somebody to share them without his permission. We all have that right. Trump has said he cannot release his tax returns because they were being examined by the IRS. Tax experts had said this is not a valid excuse. So he lied. All right. I don't care if he was under audit or not. He shouldn't have said he was going to release them. It's the kind of thing that people do when they're running for. Sure, I'll release them. You guys know this only goes back to like the 70s, right? This isn't something that's been going on since like George fucking Washington, because you don't have to give up your personal information like that. It's nobody's fucking business. Trump said that we already read that. Neal declined to comment on whether Trump was being truthful or not. Candidates are not required by law to release their taxes, but previous presidential hopefuls of both parties have voluntarily done so for several decades. Voluntarily. Make no mistake. This is because Democrats were told no. Federal income tax is relatively new. The permanent federal income tax is new. It goes back to what, the 1910s, 1920s? Before that, you still paid taxes. It was just on a rotating basis, as needed basis. Yeah, it was when, what is it, 16th Amendment? No, fuck, I can't remember. Is it the 17th Amendment? Where they're like, yes, you can have income tax. Yeah. World War II. It predates World War II, the income tax. I want to say it's the 20s. 16th Amendment. There you go. Anyhow, Democrats on the committee said they needed to see those records to assess whether the Internal Revenue Service is properly auditing presidential tax returns and to gauge whether new legislation is needed. No, they didn't. Okay. They can go to the IRS and go, is this tax return being audited? And they'd be like, yes, it is. They don't need to actually see the tax return to see that it was audited. That makes 0 sense. And notice the press here doesn't go, even though that doesn't make any sense. Because it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Not a little bit. But they talked to tax experts up there to say that it wasn't true that Trump couldn't release his taxes if he was being audited. That part they didn't ask an expert about this one. This is the kind of dirty shit they do in the press. Because if you read this, it makes it sound, oh yeah, it all makes sense why they needed this. Unless you pay even the slightest bit of attention to what's been going on in your country. Another House committee on Monday asked federal prosecutors to prosecute Trump. Who cares about that? Trump, who served as president from 2017 to 2021, reported heavy losses from his business enterprise over several years to offset hundreds of millions of dollars in income, according to news media reporting and trial testimony about his finances. That allowed him to pay very little in taxes. Yes, there's a program that if you lost, say, $100 million one year, you, instead of taking all of that loss in one year, you could spread it out over the next 10 years. I think it was 10 or 8 or 10 years that you could spread it out. I'm trying to remember the particulars here. It was something like it could only be spread out over 2 or 3 years. And then a new law was passed in, I want to say 2017, that made it so you could spread it over like 10 years. I forget exactly. But it allows you so that, $100 million loss, I'll take a 10 million hit every year and offset my taxes for those years. You don't have to agree with that kind of thing. I think it's kind of silly, honestly. I can't believe anybody voted for such a law, because if you then make 100 million the next year, you could only claim 90 million because the year before you got hit real hard. I don't know. It seems dumb to me. I'll be honest with you. But they point to this to be like, he only paid $750 in tax. Is this the story that talks about that? No, that was the AP story. But it's like, he only paid $750 in taxes one year. The average person pays $12,000 in federal income tax. Stop. Different things. They always do this. They always do this when they're talking about rich people. Like, they didn't pay. I pay $12,000 in income tax. He's not talking about income. You're talking about things like capital gains taxes. You're talking about things like just wealth increases, not a fucking paycheck. He's not getting a $1 billion paycheck. He's not getting a $100 million paycheck. You understand the difference between payroll, you get from your job, and things like your investment maturing? Those are different things, and they're taxed differently, and they should be. The Trump Organization, this is my favorite part of all of these articles. The Trump Organization was found guilty on December 6th in New York of carrying out a 15-year criminal scheme to defraud tax authorities. The company faces up to $1.6 million in fines, though Trump himself is not personally liable. He has said the case was politically motivated and the company plans to appeal. Now, see, this is a tax story, right? We have to see his taxes. And then they throw this in at the end without telling us what that tax thing was. What happened is, instead of paying them directly so that they had to be collected on taxes, they were giving him things like expensive condominiums to live in. They were giving him things like expensive company cars. And that was the way that they were getting around the tax thing. And there is absolutely zero proof that Donald Trump did any of it, had any knowledge of it. In fact, the guy who was behind it is going to prison. But they don't throw that in there. They throw, the Trump Organization was found guilty. Guilt by association right there. Not a single thing in this has shown Donald Trump did anything wrong with his taxes. Not one. He's been following the tax law. If you don't like the tax law, get a hold of your representative and tell him, hey, we need to change this. I'll probably agree with you with a lot of it. Sorry, excuse me. Over on the Streamlabs, got a donation. Hang on one second, ladies and gentlemen, while this loads up. Yeah, I'm fired up about this one. This is some nonsense. Thank you, Keldrig. Trump used a function that exists in the system to pay less taxes in a legal fashion. Oh, no. I know, right? No Democrats do that. No Democrats take any exemptions on their taxes at all. They pay the absolute most that they can because that's how American they are. They don't take the standard deduction. They don't take the child deduction. They don't take any earned income credit deductions. They don't take any business deductions. They don't use the same system that they're bitching that Trump used to offset losses in one year to the next. None of them do that. They are so pro-America that they no, you know what? They even donate to taxing. They're like, even without taking any deductions, I owe this much. I'm going to double it because I'm that American. Lying pricks. This is Kyle. Thank you so much. Hello, chat people and monkey. There might not be evidence, but they know Trump is guilty of something. I know, right? And ain't it amazing how quickly he went from being celebrated for being on The Apprentice to being the most evil person ever, 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 ever? I mean, Jesus Christ. The press not pushing back on this. This is the real crime here. Look, what the Democrats are doing is dirty, but legal. We don't have to like it, but it is legal. There are certain exemptions to releasing tax information, and one of them is by congressional approval. It shouldn't be done the way it's being done because this is just political. It's not supposed to be done for political reasons, and this one clearly was. There's no, when they're talking about the IRS didn't audit him. All right, that's fine, but we don't need to see his taxes for that. Where's the underlying reason that we all need to see that? And they gave none. They didn't even try to. They just said, we're going to release it. And the press, who's been dying for this, clamoring for this. Remember when Rachel Maddow made a fucking fool of herself? We got Trump's taxes. Wow, I do a pretty good imitation of her voice. We got Trump's taxes. And it turned out they were from the year 2005, and she became the laughing stock of the world. But everybody tuned in because everybody's like, oh my God, finally, Trump's taxes. The press has been dying for this information ever since they were first told no. And instead of them looking at this and going, wow, this is an incredible abuse of power. This is the kind of shit that should not happen. They're cheering it on. There's no pushback against it. What was the Manu Raju tweet? Where'd that go? By the way, if you don't know Manu Raju, fucking retard over at CNN. A key takeaway from the Democrats is that the IRS mandatory presidential audit of Trump's taxes were not followed. They said the IRS began auditing once Chairman Neal inquired in April of 2019 about Trump's returns. The audit of the requested returns were never completed. That's not true. But Manu, why isn't your key takeaway the blatant abuse of power? I talked about this with the Twitter files and how all of these fucking assholes so desperately want to be Woodward and Bernstein. So many, they just want to break that big story that changes the world, brings down a powerful government, whatever it is. They want that story. And yet the ones that are sitting right there in their face that they should be taking, they're like, nah, bruh. If I did that, it would make my side look bad. And that's a key difference from the liberal media of the past and the liberal media of today. The liberal media of today, it is pure team sports. The liberal media of the past, ask Gary Hart how liberal media they were when they found out he might have been cheating on his wife. They blasted this man out of the fucking water like that. You don't get to run for president anymore. It used to be at the very least. Okay, look, we're on that side. Of course, you could tell that there was a obvious lean, if not a full-on bias, an obvious lean. But they would still be like, no, this is a story. This is a big story. And now the big story is like, I mean, does it make Trump look bad? Then it's okay. Doesn't matter what the abuse of power is. If it makes Trump look bad, that's okay. If it makes Republicans look bad, if it gives them a chance to call people white supremacists or white nationalists, all right, well, we'll run that. But if it makes Democrats look bad in any way, we're not touching that. In fact, if it's a story that makes Democrats look bad, and we do have to talk about it because it's been, all over social media and Fox News is getting a lot of traction on it. We'll run a story, but we're going to run a story about how it's just pushing white nationalist perspectives or whatever dumbass shit they come up with, or how it's Russian disinformation. Evolve Potato, thank you. Same thing, they called Trump racist because employees of his employees were racist. No personal connection to him. Also, might have donated this to Jack first, so if he turns up, tell him it was an early Christmas present. Well, he just turned up. I mean, talk about timing. Jack, hi.
Hi.
I don't know if you heard what I was just reading, but you should have a donation.
Oh, thank you, Evolved Potato. The same thing as what they say, quote, Trump was racist because some black people were denied apartments, end quote. Just ignoring how Trump had no personal connection to it. It was employees of his employees. Big companies mean you'll get some criminals. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Evolved.
Jack, I'm just here raging about what's going on with this Ways and Means Committee bullshit. But before we get to that, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm okay, I guess. Kind of a weird day. How about you?
Now we're talking about. So let's just get back into this. So I assume you saw you responded to one of my tweets. So the Ways and Means Committee, they're going to be releasing Trump's tax returns for no discernible reason. And as bad as that is, Jack, and I do think it's bad, it is legal because
it's unethical.
It's incredibly unethical because the reason they're doing it has nothing to do with any actual merit. Thank you. This is Kyle. We all know for a fact that if this was happening to a Democrat president, the media would call foul. Seems like a lot of people took the "there's no bad tactics, only bad targets" mentality to heart. You're not wrong, Kyle. And this is my problem with the press because they are clearly one-sided here. I hate to use the example again, but look at how Gary Hart, who had a very promising campaign going on, he had a very promising campaign. And even though we had leftist journalists all over the place, that little bit of blood in the water, ooh, they wanted that byline. They wanted to be on the front page of the paper, being the one who brought down this. I mean, the guy just fucked somebody who wasn't his wife. It was actually pretty fucked up what they did to him.
Well, and who was it that got the haircut, the $400 haircut? The real suave guy that was running against Obama.
Oh, Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards. John Edwards. Not the psychic, the other one.
Yeah.
They fucked him over. Even Biden, Sam Donaldson broke that story about him lying about how many degrees he had.
Go back to 1988 when Joe Biden was forced to leave the election because clearly leftist journalists, blood was in the water. They found out he was a plagiarist and a fucking liar, and they drove his ass out. I don't expect them to do that on everything, but when there was a major story, at least they would cover it because at that time, they actually did want to be Woodward and Bernstein. Not necessarily to bring down a president, but to become famous doing their job. Yeah. Because it led to book sales, Jack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could get really rich off book sales, especially back then. Because there was
back in the gatekeeper days. Oh, hell yeah. Almost a guaranteed New York Times bestseller if you were somebody who broke a big story like that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now they turn a blind eye or even worse, excuse it. The only mention, and I've read several articles on this, Jack, the only mention that this might be bad is when they're quoting the Republicans from the committee who are going, this is bad. And then they move right past it. Not a single one of these fuckers is up there asking experts, hey, do you think this is a bad idea? Not one of them. This is a horrible precedent because this was all politically motivated. Look, if they had something like, let's say they do this thing and it turns out the IRS wasn't following its own rules to audit the president, which, remember, rule, not a law. And it turns out that Trump had been fudging his taxes, and so they're releasing it under that auspice, fine. But that's not what they're doing here. They're not suggesting at all that he cheated on his taxes, even a little bit. They're just going, here, you guys can look at it now. And they're doing it literally at the 11 o'clock hour. Jack, the one story that we just read from Reuters said that the IRS didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. They reached out to the IRS at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, why would there be a comment?
The,
Why would there be anybody in the office that wasn't like a security guard?
the only guy still in the IRS office works in Cincinnati and he's fucking over Republicans right as we speak.
Right?
Jesus Christ, man. Okay, I've got all my anger out. I can be calmer about it. This pisses me off. This is so dirty. And yeah, these fucking assholes in our press are cheering it on because they don't like Donald Trump. And I know I keep saying this, guys, but it is absolutely true. They were told no, and they don't like to be told no. That's what this is all about. They think that they could have stopped Donald Trump from being elected president if only they had seen his taxes in 2016.
Yeah, that's insane. That doesn't make any sense at all.
You want to know something that doesn't make sense, Jack? This is all because the IRS wasn't auditing him under their own rules while he was president. Yet they're going to release his taxes for 2 years where he was just running for president.
Yeah. Also, we haven't seen all of Biden's taxes either. He only released parts of them.
Here's what I want. I don't want them to release Joe Biden's taxes, Jack. I want them to release Hunter Biden's taxes.
That'll never happen.
I think it could. I think it absolutely could. You guys set the precedent. This is the same kind of stupid shit that you guys did with the nuclear option when it comes to voting in the Senate. You guys were like, well, we're going to change the rules. And we told you, don't do it because we'll do it back. All right, you guys made the playing field. I want to see Hunter Biden's taxes.
I don't think they have the balls to do that. The Republicans are so weak-kneed pussies.
I want to see him. I want to see how this little shit was spending his Burisma money. Was he paying his taxes the way he was supposed to with all of that?
You're funny.
Hey, look, it could happen.
It could, but it didn't. We all know it.
I wonder if he itemized his Parmesan cheese purchases.
Probably. Look, Hunter Biden's above the law, like so many celebrities and kids of government employees and all of government employees. So he'll never go to jail. The reason they're going after Trump so hard is because he wasn't a politician and he dethroned their chosen one.
Ministry of Wrong Thing, thank you. Is any of this a possible deflection / distraction from the T-files? No. They don't care about that. All they got to do to just let the press not pay attention to it, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, only the right-wing media is paying any attention to Twitter. Even Fox is barely covering it.
This is payback. It's their really last chance to do it. This is the end of their session, Jack, is this week, which is why the omnibus bill is. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But no, this is we're out of power, so we have to do it right now. Because if we don't do it right now, in 3 weeks, I think is when the new Congress gets sworn in, they'll just kill this stupid ass investigation and let it die.
Hopefully.
The problem is the barn doors are open and the horses are out. Let's see Hunter Biden's taxes. I'm going to start tweeting that on every story I see about this. Hashtag Hunter Biden's taxes. Because I feel like we should get to see that.
I agree.
Yeah. I feel like as an American citizen who is concerned about the tax integrity of my fellow Americans, the president's son should be setting a good example for the rest of us. And I want to make sure that he is.
I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but it would be good.
I also want to see his unredacted military record.
Oh yeah, that's never going to happen.
I would like to see every bit of information that the Secret Service has written down about this man.
Oh yeah, and the FBI and the CIA and the any kind of intelligence gathering outfit that we've got should be releasing that.
Yep. So yeah, let's see. Let's see. But yeah, they're not going to do that. Look, the right answer here is not to retaliate in kind because this is wrong. But you guys,
But this is politics.
it's your playing field. You guys decided to do this. I can't be upset with other people who are coming out and like, all right, let's see all of Joe's taxes. Because yeah, absolutely. This was political in nature. There's literally nothing that the Ways and Means Committee has said that shows why we need to see this. But
it's just pure spite and revenge. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's wish fulfillment for their voter base.
How about this? Every year of taxes ever for the members of the Ways and Means Committee who signed off on this should be released right now. Oh,
Yeah.
them and their spouses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How about that? Let's start there.
Including their history of stock trades.
Yep. I want to see it all. You guys want to play that game? I think there should be a law passed that anybody that votes to release people's taxes should have their taxes released as well.
Yep.
That's just fair.
As the old people used to say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Indeed. Oh, man, this shit pissed me off, Jack.
Yeah,
it pissed me off.
It should. It's just a spiteful, childish swipe at Trump, and they're going to do everything they can to destroy him.
It's using the power of the government to punish somebody for politics, for political reasons.
Yep. They don't care.
Oh, man.
Anyway, they've never been held to account for anything they've done.
I'm going to switch gears. So if there's anything else you want to say on that, please do so.
No, I just think this is just more corrupt nonsense from the Washington shithole.
Yeah. You want to see some really bad corruption from the Washington shithole?
Do I?
Ladies and gentlemen, your government's about to run out of money.
No.
Just pay the bills. They can still print as much as they want, but they're about to run out of money to run the government. And so instead of passing a minor bill to let the incoming Republicans be the ones who write the main package, the Democrats and Mitch McConnell got together and decided to fix things.
Oh, yeah. Mitch McConnell needs to step down.
Swalwell even said the other day that they are making sure he can't run again. Talking about Trump, absolutely, yeah. They're trying to pass a bill. There were like 40 Democrats in the House who want to pass a bill that says that Trump can't run again because of the 14th Amendment. This is the same nonsense they tried to pull with Marjorie Taylor Greene and who was it? Hawley, I think.
Yeah, Josh Hawley. Or Gates, one of the two.
Yeah, there's no way it's going to go through. But it won't stop them from trying. Yeah, dumbasses. Anyway, so we're running out of money, and they were supposed to have had a bill back in September, Jack. September 30th, 31st, whatever it is, was the date. Like, we have to have a bill. And they went, we don't have one. How about 90 days from now? And like, okay. So they gave themselves 90 days. And then 90 days came up and they're, oh, shit. How about 7 more? And
well,
so
considering how big this thing is, it probably took all that time to write it.
They finally came together, guys, and they got one. A bill that is 4,155 pages they dropped on members.
They're voting on it, what, tomorrow?
Chuck Schumer wants it introduced tomorrow. They have to get it done by Friday.
4,000 pages, guys.
4,155. Total spending of $1.7 trillion. $45 billion of which is going to Ukraine.
Why? Why are we giving the fucking Ukrainians money like they're Puerto Rico? You are not a territory, you assholes. Also, this is insane on so many levels. First of all, government shutdowns. You know how much the government shuts down? Like 15%. It's like
Yeah.
the national park staff gets laid off and a bunch of other ancillary people. All the senators and House members are all getting paid. All their interns are getting paid. All their people are getting paid. Nothing stops. Nothing functional actual stops. It's just stuff that the public uses. They close down the national parks and they put Obama put little barricades around like open area places that didn't need people, and they lay off a bunch of non-essential people that are like ancillary anyway, like catering staff for special events, shit like that. It's never major people.
I don't know if you saw this part. It puts some pretty strict restrictions on our border patrol,
Of course.
where money can't be spent moving people around except for illegals. Meanwhile, we're giving, what was it, $140 million to Jordan, I think it is, for border defense.
Naturally, yeah. This is our government. The people in our government hate our country.
Yes,
It's obvious. They want nothing more than to watch America fall apart. They think we are the root cause of evil in the world, and they want to destroy it. So giving our money away to all these other people is par for the course when you're attempting to destroy a country. You want to bankrupt it, you want to flood it with other people, an invasion of sorts. In this case, it's a weaponless one, except for the fentanyl. And this is how they're going to do it. They're going to give all these illegals special treatment that the citizens don't get. Look at all the free shit they get. So, oh, come on in. Oh, Border Patrol can't touch you. They can sit there and like count 1Z, 2Z, 3Z, and then that's all they're going to do. This is disgusting. Fuck these people. And fuck Ukraine.
Yeah, fuck Ukraine right in the ass. Now, there is a rule that could keep this from happening, because the current filibuster is an on-paper filibuster only. Like, if you guys do this, we're going to filibuster. So, all right, we're not doing that. But the actual filibuster rule is that if somebody is still talking, you can't stop them. And it's being floated, and Rand Paul has been making a couple of jokes about this on Twitter, that they're just going to read this on the floor. They're going to insist it's read, which
awesome.
would almost guarantee it wouldn't be able to be passed by Friday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's got to be all kinds of sneaky shit hidden in there that it's going to fuck over Americans. And they're going to raise the debt ceiling to pay for all this crap.
4,155 pages. There's quite a bit of shit hidden in there.
Yeah. And Schumer was like, oh, well, everything's been talked about and discussed in meetings, so it should be a big surprise to anyone. Oh, bullshit.
Well, that's the thing. This bill didn't go through any committees.
Maybe it was meetings, he said.
Well, no, he probably said that because that's what normally happens. And they have committee meetings all the time. But the truth of the matter is, this didn't go through the normal process of going through committee and having different parts of it added and subtracted. This was just dropped on everybody. Like, bam, here it is. Vote. Ministry of Wrong, thank you. Making a bill 100 times longer than anyone is possibly able to read in a month, let alone 3 days, should be deemed inherently corrupt and illegal, especially considering how simple it is to slip crap in it. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I hate these omnibus bills. They always say, oh, we got to have comprehensive packages and omnibus bills. No, it's bullshit. It's an excuse to stuff it full of pork that nobody wants. They can't just hand a clean bill and say, all right, look, we're going to fund the government for this amount of time with this bill. No, it's always jam-packed full of bullshit foreign aid that we shouldn't be spending. This border crap. It's got all these little things sprinkled in there that nobody's ever going to see. So I hope they do make everybody read this out loud. Just get every Republican up there reading it.
Yeah, just this is what I mean they used to do, and depending on how much time, it doesn't actually stop things, because eventually you run out of stuff to say and they're like, oh, okay, it's time to vote. But with the size of this thing and the fact that this has to be done by Friday, Yeah, y'all shot yourself in the foot with that. You know, Rand Paul's in the Senate, right? Did they forget that part?
I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah, you could pass another little kick the can vote, kick it down 3 months, but they can't do that because if they do that, then the Republicans are in charge. And some of the shit, look, I don't have the most faith in the Republicans, but some of the shit would absolutely be cut out. Unfortunately, the money to Ukraine would still be in there because Republicans are all on board on that shit.
Oh, especially McConnell. Just see him. It's a national security issue for it. No, it's not. It's the most important thing we're doing. Ugh.
It's a national security issue for Ukraine. Let them fucking pay for it.
Yeah, they are not a territory.
The stuff about the border, man, with the limits on what can be spent, it's disgusting. And this is all just slipped in there because we have to do this. We got to the government's going to shut down. All right. Okay. Stop being so afraid of this, Republicans, you goddamn pussies.
Well, the problem is they have no moral fortitude at all. They're just like, okay, well, we'll just go along to get along. We'll say we're opposed to it, and then we'll just let it go through.
They got so much shit during the Clinton shutdowns that they become gun shy of it. And then the Obama ones, they got the same shit. Now, okay, I guess we shouldn't be doing it. No. It's exactly what you should be doing. You should absolutely be standing up and going, this is nonsense.
Yeah, it's easier to capitulate and just pretend to put up a little bit of a fight, like maybe hold a hearing where you yell at someone and then you get your soundbite that you can campaign on and then you get reelected. They've realized that GOP voters just don't give a fuck. They'll keep voting these clowns in.
Yeah. This is just nonsense. But it's how our government has worked for decades now, and it's part of the problem. You want to know why we're so far in debt? $32 trillion we're in debt. And this bill, 1.1 trillion of it is unpaid for.
Oh, there's a shocker. Yeah, they just constantly vote to raise the debt ceiling every time. Every single time. Like that money's never ever going to come due.
Let me put that into perspective, okay? That this is a bill that's supposed to keep our government running. That would mean only 600 billion of it is actually to keep it running. The other 1.1 billion is shit on top of it.
Yeah, real quickly. Thank you, Adabisi, who says, howdy, Jack. Hi, Adabisi. Haven't seen you in ages. Hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, we don't need this bill. This bill needs to go away. I just don't think the Republicans in the Senate have the fortitude to do it. I think this shit will end up passed anyway. We're going to see a major press push in the next couple of days to make sure this happens. Guys, if this doesn't happen, government services will be shut down. What government services? The last time this happened, the only one that they could find that was a real issue was that kids' cancer ward. And the Republicans were immediately like, oh, we'll fund that real quick. We'll do a bill right now, get it passed. And Harry Reid was like, no, fuck the cancer kids.
Yeah.
Either give us everything or those kids die.
If the bill can't stand up on its own, it doesn't need to be passed. And nobody's going to be go against a bunch of sick kids getting funding as its own bill, unless they're doing it for political gain, in which case they're dickbags and don't deserve to be in power.
The press even made Harry Reid out to be the hero of that situation.
Well, of course they did.
He literally was going to let kids die so that he could get the full bill passed. Even though there, just like now, a bunch of it was unnecessary. I wonder how much money the IRS is getting in that bill.
Probably quite a bit. They got a lot of border or agents to fund who are going to need firearms training too.
Yeah. Do they really need training? I mean, they can pray and spray.
Well, they probably will. They'll probably shoot some kids or something. Just no longer do you have a tax deduction. This
Oh,
is the type of shit you see in Zimbabwe. You know, people flee countries for doing exactly what our Congress is doing right now.
well, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Anyhow, I'm depressed about our government, man.
Well, it's not going to get any better, I fear.
I know. Because even the Republicans who are out there are beating their chest. We're going to change everything. No, you're not.
Yeah, I
I'm
get
sorry. I've heard that too many times.
Yeah, they talk a lot and they do little to nothing.
Meanwhile, you guys leave people who are trying to do something a little different, like Rand Paul, swinging in the wind.
Yep. And McConnell made it a point not to fund people that were like that.
Yep.
Like what he did to Blake Masters and Lee Zeldin. Totally just cut him out. Like, nope, fuck you. Like, Lee Zeldin is still a congressman for now, but you're fucking. He even like funded Murkowski to run against another Republican because Murkowski is a little more willing to cross the aisle.
Yeah, look, I'm not opposed to crossing the aisle, but it's got to be a tit for tat kind of thing. It's supposed to be a compromise. And instead, it's just like,
but it's not. It's just capitulation.
Yeah, give everything to the Democrats and call it compromise. Oh, they gave us a little bit of military funding. Rand Paul, I don't know if you saw his comments on this. He brought that up. Like, we're supposed to be thankful to some military spending. Have you seen his comments?
Yeah.
Let's show the audience. I don't know how well my internet's doing because I'm up earlier than I thought I was going to be. Dude, I've spent most of the day sleeping.
Oh.
I tried to get up and do stuff, and my body was like, yeah, let's go to bed.
My mom surprised me with go buy your dad a present from me. And I was like, oh my God, I've been up for like 20 hours and you want to dump this on me. I was running around all fucking day. Not just doing that, but doing all sorts of stuff. Ridiculous.
All right.
I'm very tired.
Hopefully this works. Hopefully it's not too broken up. You know how my internet gets, but let's make sure it's as loud as it gets, guys. This is Rand Paul's comments on the bill. He brought the whole thing, and you'll see it in this clip. Look off to it. It'll be on the right-hand side of the screen, off to his left. That's the bill.
I brought with me the Omni, 4,155 pages. When was it produced? In the dead of the night, 1:30 in the morning when it was released. Now, people argue that it's conservatives' fault. You don't have the Christmas spirit. Somehow you're holding up government. Well, whose job is it to produce this? The people in charge of spending, the people in charge of both of the parties. When did they know that this would be necessary? Well, it's in the law.
We'll come back to that. Adabisi, thank you. Monk, why have you made it more difficult to donate money through your super chat? I have not. I haven't done anything. What do you mean more difficult? You don't have to donate for that, but thank you for the donation. I have no idea what you mean. Jack, have you heard anything about difficulty in donating through super chat?
Not offhand that I can remember, but I'm sure there's some sort of nonsense going on over at YouTube.
I will say this: all 5 of my last streams have been hit with the yellow, and they've rejected my appeal. Apparently, Susan needs reminded that she can see my wiener for 7 figures.
Well, you haven't mentioned it in a while, so
That's
maybe
true.
she's like, "You're not thinking of me."
All right, so here he goes.
When did they know that this would be necessary? Well, it's in the law, September 30th. You got 9 months, almost 10 months to produce a plan, to have a spending plan. They weren't ready on September 30th, so they voted themselves 90 more days. They weren't ready last week either, so they voted themselves another week. And now we have it at 1:30 in the morning this morning. But what's the clamor? The clamor is to vote. Vote now. Let's get it done. Why are you standing in the way of spending? Well, the real question is this. What is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to the country? $1.1 trillion in new debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a
win. Adabisi, thank you. I couldn't easily donate to you, but went easy for Jack. Are you talking on Streamlabs? I haven't changed anything over there either.
Yeah, Streamlabs gets a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything.
It might have been that you just tried to donate too quickly to, in a short span, and it set off some sort of alert on their end. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works, quite honestly. It's like magic. You guys send me messages through the ether, and I'm like, oh, words and money.
Yeah, thank you for the donations and for the attempts over there. But I haven't changed anything.
New debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a big win. We're getting $45 billion for the military. So which is more important? Which threatens the country more? Are we at risk for being invaded by a foreign power if we don't put $45 billion into the military?
Well, in that one instance, I do want to point out we've given a lot of our shit to the Ukrainians, so we're at more risk than we used to be. But I get his point.
Are we more at risk by adding to a $31 trillion debt? I think the greatest risk to our national security is our debt. The process stinks. It's an abomination. It's a no good, rotten way to run your government. $6 trillion entity, and they want 24 hours to process this, and then they want to go forward.
What he means by that is they dropped this in the middle of the night last night, and they want voting first thing in the morning tomorrow. They want to vote. They gave people, I guess technically, Jack, 36 hours?
Sure.
Thank you, Basanova. Money for Monkey. Been a long time since I could watch you. It was my birthday yesterday. Well, Basanova, thank you for the donation, and this one is for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Basanova. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. Really do.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Keldrig. Streamlabs do be a little fucky sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. People do talk about it quite a bit, that sometimes they'll let you donate, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it just crashes entirely. I really don't understand the technology behind it because I'm a computer illiterate. So I can't tell you how any of it works.
I will be demanding 2 amendments. One, that this goes against the budget rules. The pay-go rules say you can't do this. You can't have all this new spending unless it's offset. We will also be demanding that the pay-go rules are increased. Instead of taking 60 votes to evade the rules, we're going to ask that it be a 2/3 vote to evade the rules.
Neither of those things are going to pass, by the by, because the Republicans won't stand strong, and the Democrats sure as hell ain't going to be like, no, we're definitely going to stick to pay-go rules.
People don't want this. They're sick and tired of it. They're paying for it through the nose with inflation. Adding $1 trillion to the deficit will simply fuel the fires that are consuming our wages and consuming our retirement plans. It's a terrible system. Someone needs to stand up. We're standing up, and we're going to say no.
Now, whether or not that actually works is, it remains to be seen. I hope they can fight it. I really do, but
yeah. You want to hear some of what's in this thing? Because Dan Bishop has been tweeting like a motherfucker about this.
Yeah, I've been seeing some of his. Let's go ahead. Go ahead. Let's read some off.
All right. Let's see. We've got prohibits CBP funding from being used to improve border security. Allocates $410 million towards border security for Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, and Oman.
Well, they need border security. We don't. We got what's the estimate? Going to be like 2 million crossing the border this month?
Oh yeah, at least. They caught what was it? 30,000 just in August that they caught.
Oh shit, I said 2 million this month, 2 million this year. Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet it's probably 2 million a month. Oh, thank you, Basanova. Money for Jack. Beautiful singing, you two, as always. Thank you for that flattery. It'll get you everywhere. I hope Monkey and the wonderful audience are well as well. Best community on all of YouTube. Thanks, Basanova. Appreciate that. And we do have the best community online.
What else we got?
Hang on. Let me type my thank you in there.
Wasn't it the Dems that came out with Pago? Not that I'm aware of, but could be.
65 million for Pacific coastal salmon recovery.
Nice.
Yeah. 3 million for bee-friendly highways and another 5 million for the salmon. For different salmon, not the same ones.
Ah.
Let's see here. 575 million for family planning in areas where population growth, quote, threatens biodiversity, end quote.
What?
Yeah, that's the one that I was like, that doesn't sound dystopian at all. Like, oh, sorry, there's too many people here. It's a threat to biodiversity. Time to carve out your babies.
Yeah, let's be honest. When people talk about family planning, they're talking about abortion, which, by the way, you can't fund legally through the government.
Oh, you and your silly old notions.
Family planning where it threatens biodiversity.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. What's a be safe highway? I don't know.
Who knows? Your guess is as good as ours, dude. Maybe they put pollen on the sides so the bees don't fly into traffic. I don't fucking know. But maybe there'll be a bee crossing sign.
Yeah, like the deer crossings.
Yeah. 65 million in 2 programs for Senator Leahy and a federal building named for Nancy Pelosi.
We need a federal building named for Pelosi.
Yeah.
Oh, is it going to be worse. Tilted?
It's gonna be drunk all the time. It's just a bar. There's a handful of earmarks, including 3.6 million for the Michelle Obama Trail.
What?
Yeah. 477K for anti-racist training from the Equity Institute.
Okay.
3 million for the LGBTQ plus museum in New York City.
What?
3 million.
Why do we need to pay for an LGBTQ plus museum?
Don't be a bigot, monkey.
But I have questions.
We all have questions. We're not going to get answers, though.
And wait, I just want to remind people, this is a bill that's supposed to keep your government running.
Yeah, it is. It's running with a printing press. One of my personal favorites that's going to enrage me to no end. 1.2 million for services for DACA recipients. Those freeloading little children of parasites who are also parasites and probably the worst offenders, kids that aren't supposed to be here, are getting $1.2 million. Notice how we haven't heard anything about the homeless, veterans, mental health. No, this is strictly for those parasites that came in over the border illegally. Well, and their kids.
And the gay museum.
Yeah, well, that's 3 million. They actually got more for the gays than they did for the parasites. So far, anyway. 4.1 million in various. Oh, sorry.
Frank Hubbard, thank you. We have to pay because no one goes there. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Jack.
It's probably some money laundering front. Anyway, 4.1 million in various career programs for Fairfax County, which is one of the richest in the United States, by the way.
In Fairfax County, Virginia?
Yes.
Dear Christ.
Yeah.
All right.
And just because the money for Ukraine wasn't enough, there's an authorization in here for a Ukraine Independence Park in D.C.
What? Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ukrainians are not Americans. Please stop this shit.
They so desperately want Ukraine to be the 51st state, apparently, because we've given more money to them than we have to pretty much any state in the union in the past decade.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, they could have cleaned up Puerto Rico's corruption problem with this much money.
Yep. But instead, we're giving it to the Ukrainians so that Vlad can live high, in his meager little. You ever notice that he always is wearing that green shirt?
Yeah.
But he's in a fucking palace.
Yeah.
When they don't Photoshop him in somewhere else.
There's also approval of location of commemorative work to honor journalists who sacrificed their lives in service to a free press, whatever
Stop
that
it.
means.
Stop it.
And authorization to establish commemorative work to commemorate the heroic deeds and sacrifices of service animals and handlers of service animals in the United States. There's no S on the end of that.
Fair enough.
If they were animals that were like in wartime or something, I'd be okay with that because those animals were actual heroes. If this is just like Timmy tried to take his service llama on a plane and they said no, here's the statue, which is what it'll end up being. We also get the renaming of 25 post offices.
Why?
I don't know. $524.4 million for DEI and structural racism focused NIH subdivision.
Diversity, inclusion, equity, or equity inclusion. That's what it is. Equity inclusion. I said it wrong.
Equity inclusion. Yeah.
I think it should be the other way because it needs to die. How much was that?
$524,395,000.
Fuck right off.
Yeah. This is just these personal pet projects. Money sinks. $300K per year for the continuous plankton recorder.
What?
It's a survey they're doing about plankton.
Okay.
Yeah, 300K, that's a drop in the bucket compared to some of these. But what a waste of money. Seriously, you could fund a homeless shelter on 300K.
I'm not opposed to some science spending. I would have to see the quality and quantity of that work, whether 300K. I mean, if you're doing all along America's coastlines, including lakes and stuff, that's not much money. If it's just in one lake in the middle of Minnesota, that's a shit ton of money. But anyway, I would give the 300K to them far before I'd give even $1 to Ukraine.
Oh, absolutely. They want to set up funds accessible in the amount of $200 million for a gender equity fund. And subsection C of this fund allows that money to be spent in Pakistan.
Of course it does. Why not?
Yeah, let's just give it to a bunch of our money to the people that harbored bin Laden. Why not? And our enemies of the people we're trying to cozy up with, India.
Yeah. All right.
They're kicking up the amount of money for the vaccination injury trust fund. It's kicking it up from 13.2 to 15.2. I'm kind of okay with that since that one never gets dipped into, really. But they're going to need it for all the cases of myocarditis coming up.
Oh, sure.
$335 million to prepare for an influenza pandemic.
What?
Yeah, because they're expecting another pandemic apparently, but $335 million.
It's the flu.
Yeah, but it can murder everybody.
I mean, technically, isn't the flu a pandemic every year?
Yeah.
All right.
Interestingly, this is worded fund for activities including the development and purchase of vaccines, antivirals, necessary medical supplies, diagnostics, and other surveillance tools.
Surveillance tools?
That's the exact wording, surveillance tools.
Oh, that's so they can track.
Or monitor you when they lock you in your home like China.
Yeah.
Who knows? $7.5 million to better understand the, quote, domestic radicalization phenomenon.
Oh, I can help them with that. And all they got to do is watch this show.
We talk about Antifa a lot.
Yeah.
Plus $1 million for gun violence research.
We already studied that.
$535 million for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So NPR and PBS.
Yeah, they need to pay their own way. look,
Yeah, I'm all for cutting both of them off. As much as I love Antiques Roadshow, I can live with reruns.
yeah, look, they should have to hawk Burger King like everybody else.
Yeah. They get donations and endowments anyway. So
Yep.
why are we paying 535 million in the middle of a recession for this shit?
Why are we paying for broadcasting at all?
I don't know. We also have 11.33 billion for the FBI. So they could collude and bribe
Well,
Twitter more, I guess. Or
Jack, I don't
social
know if you
media.
understand how much they pay different social media companies to do their bidding. That doesn't seem like much.
Oh, well, yeah, here we are. How about 1.75 billion for the ATF?
Wait. Go back to the FBI one.
Okay.
How much was it?
11.33 billion.
So basically a quarter of the a 1/4 of the military budget.
Yes.
All
Look,
right.
there's a lot of so-called fascists and white supremacists they're going to want to spy on and possibly arrest, especially those evil parents at school board
Hey,
meetings.
look, they had 80 people dedicated to just reading Twitter. That doesn't fund itself.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. They're not corrupt at all, you guys. The FBI is a good, wholesome organization.
They're good boys.
Like I said, 1.75 billion for the ATF, 2.63 billion for U.S. attorneys, with an emphasis on January 6 prosecutions and
Yeah.
domestic terrorism cases.
Yeah, that's one of the new parts of this, because we have to fund those attorneys anyway, but this is specific to the January 6th shit.
Yeah, which is just going to have mission creep, and they'll be like, well, everybody that believes that voted for Trump is connected to this or some nonsense.
You once said January 6th, but it's my birthday. Fuck you. You're going to jail.
Yeah, never to be seen again in the gulag. Yeah. How about 26 million for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion in the House of Representatives?
How much?
26 million.
Why?
I don't know.
Is it so Nancy Pelosi can get down on one knee and need 6 people to pick her back up again?
No, I think it's like you need more black staff. Also included are regulations on cosmetics, changes to horse racing rules, and the Electoral Count Act.
Yeah, the Electoral Count Act, that's one of Schumer's pet projects. He wants to make it so that the January 6th electoral count, when it comes in, it's all symbolic.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous.
How about 286 million in Title 10 funding, which funds Planned Parenthood?
No, it doesn't, because we don't fund abortion. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's for women.
I'm gonna stop playing.
70 million for minority business development, an increase of 15 million from fiscal year 2022.
All right, I guess.
750K for Trans Latin Coalition.
Now, does that mean across Latin America, or does that mean Latinos who go by Latina?
The way it's spelled is Trans Latin at. I'm pretty sure since it specifically says Los Angeles, I'm guessing this is a particular program or one specific group, I should say.
I feel like that's a waste of money, but go ahead.
Well, you heard that, but now how about the 2.35 million for improvement and maintenance of the Iditarod Trail? Because good boys got to run through the snow. Good doggos. How about 1.5 million for the restoration of the Albany, New York City Hall?
No, fuck that. They can pay for their own restoration.
It's the capital of the state. They should have enough tax money laying around they can pull from.
It's their state. Let them deal with it.
Right? How about 400K for the, quote, Racial Justice Improvement Project, end quote, whatever that is.
Jack, you and I have got to start a racial justice business.
Apparently.
I want some of this free federal money. You and I will come on this show once a day and say we believe in racial justice. That will be our contribution. And I think we're going to need, I'm just ballparking it here. I'm not a financier, but probably about $6-7 billion for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could probably settle for like 450K.
No,
And make do with a shoestring operation, but we really need like triple that.
Yeah, we just to be safe, at least $1 billion, at least a billion.
We need a cushion to work with.
Yeah, and LGBTQIA, LMNOP, QRS, and all of that too. We believe in that, so that's another $1 trillion at least.
Oh yeah, at least, and we could talk about how bad Russia is and the glories of Ukraine.
Oh yeah, our Ukrainian outreach. That's going to be another. You know that I got to be honest. That fuck them. So that's just like $5.
No, Ukrainian women cost a lot more than that. I'm gonna need way more money than that, dude.
Oh, okay, yeah. So for Ukrainian outreach, we're going to need. I think the grand total for all of our outreach is going to probably be in the neighborhood of $1.5 trillion. So I need my congressman to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. I dropped the link if you guys want to go through that. He might update more as they're going through it because that's just what his staff has found so far.
Nut says, "Damn, this is depressing." Yeah, sweetheart. Unfortunately, this is how your government is a lot. It just doesn't get talked about very often because typically they don't do it in this manner where we can so blatantly see it.
Yeah.
Typically there's a lot of other stuff going on. It's the end of the year. People are getting, ready for Christmas and stuff. And they tried to drop this hoping nobody would pay that much attention.
Yeah. I didn't even mention like membership in the global multinational organizations like the UN that we fund for some fucking reason. He mentions the word salmon appears 48 times in the bill so far.
Jesus.
It's ridiculous. He's got screenshots of excerpts from this too. So I highly recommend if you're a U.S. citizen and that means you're a taxpayer, you should be watching this shit because this is how insanely out of touch these clowns are.
And they spend this kind of money like it's no big deal.
Yeah, because it's not their money. They don't give a shit. If it's not your money, why do you care? You'd be like, well, I want this. Let's pay for this. Oh, you want that too? Okay, let's do your project as well because why not? It's on the taxpayers. We could just run the printing press.
Yeah, while you're out there worried about whether or not you should go ahead and fill up your tank, will you be able to buy the rest of your groceries this week? They're like, fuck it, give Ukraine $45 billion.
Yeah, why fix the supply chain issues and try and sort out all the problems we're having when we could just dump a truckload of money on Ukraine? And you've got where you can't find stuff you need. Some things are just missing off the shelves. Food prices are skyrocketing, and you have a bunch of illegals coming in. They're going to be a tax burden on the education system, the healthcare system, Social Security, all that stuff, all the free stuff and benefits they get that you don't apply for, that you can't get. They get free cell phones. You don't get a free cell phone. They get gift cards just for fucking showing up and a bus ride to wherever they want to go. You don't get that, but you're paying for all theirs. I don't understand how more people are angry about this stuff.
And when you talk, they love to talk about how the rich aren't paying their fair share. They're paying for most of this, by the way.
Yeah. Elon Musk paid more money in taxes than anyone in history, and they're still bitching about him not paying his fair share.
What you could do is reduce the debt on everybody, that everybody has to pay. Cut out most of this bullshit. And then the rich, you know what? I don't think this should happen, Jack. But you could pay for everything just on what the rich pay. But you can't do that when you're spending $1.7 trillion.
Yeah. This is insane. They think the money just comes out of nowhere, and all these bureaucrats need to justify their jobs. We should be eliminating all of this administration nonsense and almost all these stupid fucking programs. Real quick though, thank you, Evolved Potato. If you guys start a racial justice business, I volunteer to lead the Australian branch so you can add international to it and need even more money. Good point. Plus, get some from my government as well as yours. That's a great idea, Evolved. We will definitely consult with you if we follow through on this, which we won't.
We appreciate that you're a volunteer and not a paid employee.
Well, he's an intern, so we get more money to pay the interns then.
Fair. I want to point out that this 1.7 trillion is on the back of the almost 2 trillion that they spent on. Wait, no, let's just do them all together. About $5 trillion that they spent on COVID recovery, that they spent on the infrastructure bill. What was the Build Back Better one that they renamed? Oh, the Inflation Reduction Act. So it's not like this is. It's not like they're only spending 1.7 trillion. This is on top of trillions they've already spent this year.
Yeah. Yeah, this is enraging. They don't care about us. They're so out of touch in their own little enclaves. They don't give a fuck about anything that happens to American citizens. They just care about their sweet little Ukrainians and those poor misguided people coming over the border who we don't know who they are or what their intentions are.
Your government at work, ladies and gentlemen.
This is so. I don't know how much longer people are going to put up with this shit. Like, how many people have to starve? How many people have to go homeless and get evicted before somebody goes fucking crazy and snaps? Can I just point out our 2 stories tonight? One of them is the government getting back at a guy they don't like because he wouldn't tell them their taxes. And the other one is them spending money on all kinds of shit we don't need, telling us we need it so that they can keep running. We've only had 2 stories tonight, and that's what they are. Yeah, it's the audacity of this, just to outright give you the middle finger in public and be like, yeah, we're going to pass this. We might take 1 or 2 things out, but fuck you. This is what your money's going to, and if you don't like it, you can go to jail for not paying your taxes.
No. They won't.
Audits.
No, you guys have to understand this. They won't take anything out of this, because if they take anything out of this, it's got to go back to the House for another vote.
Oh, then they're not going to do that then.
No. This isn't going to be one of those things where they're like, okay, we can negotiate it and we'll drop it, and then they'll go back to the House and they'll, no. They have no time for that. Not unless Nancy agrees to just say yes and have her coalition vote yes on everything.
Yeah, they're not going to be satisfied till our standard of living is on par with like Venezuela. Yeah. They want you poor and reliant on the government. You will own nothing. You will eat the bugs, and you will like it.
Let's move along. What else did I have here? Do I really want to talk about that? I don't care.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't care about that one today. I do want to talk about this. Wells Fargo was just ordered to pay $3.7 billion.
I saw that. To Ukraine directly, or
no, it'll have to come through taxes to Ukraine. Consumer banking giant Wells Fargo was ordered to pay $3.7 billion in fines and refunds to U.S. customers, the largest fine to date against a bank which has spent years trying to rehabilitate itself after a series of scandals. The amount is nearly quadruple the previous $1 billion penalty that Wells Fargo paid in 2018. With a penalty like that, aren't you just shutting the business down? Basically $4 billion.
That's definitely going to hurt Wells Fargo, but I don't know how much money they have, how liquid they are.
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on Tuesday ordered Wells Fargo to repay $2 billion to consumers and enacted a $1.7 billion penalty against the bank. The Bureau spelled out a laundry list of commercial financial law violations, from illegal fees and interest on auto loans and mortgages, as well as incorrectly applied overdraft fees against savings and checkings accounts. So if you guys bank with Wells Fargo, you might want to look into whether or not you get money back.
Good luck. Yeah, whether you get money or if you're not going to have an account soon.
You get money back and they take it all when the bank fails. But don't worry, then the government will give money to Wells Fargo because they're too big to fail.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to pass another omnibus bill to save them.
Oh man, I hate this kind of stupid shit. Look, I think they absolutely should get in trouble. I have no problem with the fine. It is definitely going to hurt their business drastically. But my problem is, I know how in a year from now, Wells Fargo is going to come out and be like, we got it. We need government help. And the government will go, oh, all right, here you go.
Yeah, it'll be bailouts, just like GM got.
I do want to talk about this. Men who talk too much about being a father online are engaging in women behavior and therefore gay. I'm glad you love your kids, but please find some discretion and self-respect. You'll never find an Eastern dad gushing about his fifis on the internet.
Is this written by Nick Fuentes?
This is written by Megha. I don't know who she is, but this is written by a female. A woman is talking about how you would be raised in the East. Bitch, they'd have drowned you. They'd have been like, we want a boy.
Yeah. Look, is she
I don't know if she's paid attention to how women are treated in the East.
Probably not. I don't think a lot of the people that talk about this stuff don't understand what it's like where they're talking about. So.
Well, she's responding to a guy who said, all right, fuck it, dads, go ahead and drop your favorite memory as a father below. I'll go first. I tell my daughter I love her every morning when we leave for work. We load her in the car and she always asleep, but I said it anyway. Then the first time she was actually awake, I told her I love her and she smiled so big, you just knew it had to hurt. She's done that nearly every morning since until recently. She now blows me a kiss every time we load her up and every time I get her out of the car. It feels good, man. And this bitch is like, you gay. You gay for liking your kid.
And women are always like, hey, why don't men show emotion? Right. There it is. Right there.
That's an over. Oh, go ahead.
You should be cold and standoffish with your children, men. That's the lesson here.
Basanova, thank you. So first they want men to be more in touch with their feelings. Now they want them to shut up. These people need to make up their minds, I swear. Well, I saw quite a few different takes on this. Some guys, some girls who were all like, yeah, guys, you're being... Hey, gentlemen, you want to know a secret to getting women? There's a true story. Be a dad who loves your kids. Women melt for that shit. Panties drop.
No, monkey. You should never acknowledge your children. Just go to work, make money for them because you are a wallet and an ATM. And don't even like sleep in the same part of the house. You sleep in the garage. In your car, the worst of the cars that you own, because you don't get to drive the nicer stuff. And just hand your wife your wallet as needed upon demand, and she will control all your credit cards and debit cards. And you have to submit requests for money through a mail drop.
It's so fucking retarded. Look, I love my children. I love my grandchildren. I'm not shy about any of it. And if you have a problem with that, you can go fuck yourself. How about this? Move to the East, bitch.
Yeah, well, there is a high percentage of unhappy marriages in the East because men work all the time and don't spend a lot of time around the family. So there's a lot of cheating that goes on. So
head over to China. Head over to China and tell them that you want to be one of them because you admire the Chinese men. And write me in about 6 months and tell me how your life's going.
Yeah, let us know how happy you are.
Tell me about all those straight men around you.
Yeah.
Twat. Jeez. I've never seen shaming for caring about your kids.
Caring about your kids is so gauche.
Oh my God. I read a story today. It's a it was an investigation by ProPublica and NBC News. And it was about how easily people lose their kids these days. And I'm not saying there's not a problem with that, Jack. But as happens in these kind of stories, they had an example. And this woman and her husband, they lost their kids. They lost all parental rights in 5 months. From the time the first complaint was happened until the judge said, you cannot see these kids anymore. You lose all parental rights. It was 5 months. Apparently, West Virginia is the fastest in the nation. We have a incentive program on the federal level. Yeah, this is something you guys pay for, to take kids away from their parents.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
States get money for putting kids into adoption and
foster care. Yeah.
Well, the adoption part was the big one. And because you can put them into foster care without taking away parental rights, you can't give them to somebody else permanently without doing that.
Yeah.
And so in the Clinton years, they passed this bill that made it so that if states increase adoption rates, then they get more money. Well, this woman that they had for their example, her and her husband lost their kids because he's a meth addict, and she only did it once because, you know, she thought, okay, it might be good to try. And it just happened to be when they came and drug tested these two idiots whose children weren't going to school. Shocking.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
so judgmental.
She was working, you see, and so she was stressed. She usually only did pot, right? He still did meth, but she usually only did pot. But the stress of all of this, one night she decided to do meth again to deal with the stress. So she failed the test. And you see, it's not really her fault. I'm like, all right, you know, they just repeat over and over that she failed some tests here and there, failed a couple.
Some people failed something.
They never tell how many over this 5-month period, how many times she failed drug tests when she knew her kids were on the line. And I just thought, you know, you probably could have found a different couple, you know, somebody who wasn't doing meth to deal with their problem. I still think 5 months is too early, Jack. If you want to try to get them into treatment and stuff and help them get their kids back, that's fine. But you're never going to convince me that meth addicts are good parents.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Like, what really makes a good parent is their teeth falling out.
It's a sweet, sweet meth they've got. Maybe they did really classy meth.
By the way, they've been sober for a couple of months now, Jack.
Good
in case you were wondering how the fucking degenerates are doing now. I just thought, like, you couldn't find a better couple than somebody who's repeatedly told you that they've been high on meth. But it wasn't her fault, you see. Wasn't her fault. It was his fault because he was a meth addict.
Bastard.
They quote him near the end of it saying, I feel like I've lost my family. Yeah, it's in the court papers, you dumb son of a bitch.
Well, he just found out about it because he just sobered up for a minute.
He just got sober enough to realize what happened. Yeah.
He's like, I can't deal with this. I got to go get high.
Yeah. And again, look, I think CPS needs a big overhaul in probably every state in the union.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But terminating parents' rights, it shouldn't be something that's done so willy-nilly. The average, I think they said in West Virginia, is like less than a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fast. But anyway.
There should be a much higher standard for taking kids away.
Yeah. Although, don't make your test case that you're trying to make me feel bad about a fucking meth mother.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to feel bad about that.
It's kind of hard to feel bad about it.
But I only did it because I was worried about losing my kids. Okay.
I really love crack.
You're losing your kids because of drug use. And because of that, you thought a good idea would be to use drugs. All right. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
There's a logic there, but
the whole reason that they noticed you in the first place is because your kids weren't turning up to school for months at a time. All right, I guess.
Maybe they're homeschooling them.
At least they should have been smart enough to say that. But no. Anyway. Little drug addicts. China accused of fresh territorial grab in the South China Sea. The South China Sea. China
Sounded weirdly racist.
China's yeah, well, God, that was not on purpose. That is just my normal bad speaking. China seeking to control more territory in Spratlys, I think they said that. Source, according to source, Beijing claims more than 80% of resource-rich waters. So they're up to their own shenanigans again.
Yep, it was theirs historically since the beginning of time.
They're building up more fake islands. Is that what they're doing?
No, they're just reclaiming what was theirs from the colonizers.
No, it says China's building up several unoccupied land features.
No, those historically they used to be there. You just don't know about them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. While China's previously built on undisputed reefs, islands, and land formations in the area that long controlled, the militarization of them, ports, runways, and other infrastructure, the official presented images of what they called the first known instances of a nation doing so on territory it doesn't already occupy. Wait, I thought they'd been doing that.
Shh.
I like their little tiny island in the middle of this reef. It looks like a smudge on the camera. No, it's totally a real island. My grandparents were born there. I'm just saying. If I remember correctly, eggs will last a fair time unrefrigerated. I learned that not long ago. And it has to do, you have to keep who was it in our chat who was talking about that? It's something to do with keeping the nasty shit that comes out of the egg with it, or out of the chicken with it. And that helps keep it preserved long term, so you don't actually have to refrigerate it. It's once you clean them off that you guys start refrigerating them. If I understood what was said to me in chat correctly. Just throwing that out there.
Don't know. Ham and Bean said only if the eggs are fresh and not store-bought.
Yeah, and that's because you got to have that the chicken placenta on it.
Ew.
The chicken embryonic sac.
Yeah, look, I like aborted chickens as much as the next guy when they're cooked up, but that seems gross.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before. I'm not a farm person, but yeah, somebody said it in chat. A prepper show said to coat them in mineral oil. I don't trust all prepper shows because some of those guys, well, they're the people that Art Bell would have hung up on. Oh, fuck no. But yeah, I don't know about the chicken eggs. I do know that there is some way that you can have them non-refrigerated, and it's, if I did understand correctly, they got to be gross. You can clean them before you use them, Jack. It's not like as soon as you clean them off they go nasty, but that's when their shelf life starts.
Before they become blue gumballs.
They clean them with chemicals so it wears off part of the shell. Fair enough. Look, I'm not an expert. Come on, man. That deserves a bigger laugh than that. Expert, come on.
That was punny, Dad.
Chat, give me a laugh for that one. I feel I deserve it. So China's stealing shit that's not theirs.
I mean,
shocker.
Surprised.
Yeah. Spike in Fed discount window usage hints at looming bank crisis. Oh. We needed another one of those, I guess.
Yeah. 6
months after the Fed's quantitative tightening started, the Fed balance sheet has shrunk by just over $400 billion, less than 10% of its massive expansion in the post-COVID era, when it nearly doubled in just days, $4 trillion to $7 trillion, and then grew another $2 trillion over the next year. Why would that trigger a bank crisis? Digging a bit deeper into the balance sheet composition, We find that high-powered money equivalents, i.e. reverses, are just over 3.1 trillion, while the far more inert reverse repos, Jesus Christ, this is shit I don't understand.
I was hoping you could explain most of it to me.
No, this is some shit I don't understand. So we'll throw it in the chat.
Yeah, I already did.
For you guys, but yeah, that's sorry, I just don't know. I don't understand what they're talking about, and I'd have to dig deep into this one.
Real quick, thank you, Keldrake. In other news, grass is green. Well, I mean, for now it is until it identifies a different way.
Sorry, I'm reading just a little further down on this. Yeah, that's one I have to save for later because that is interesting. It's just not something I know enough about to be able to talk about it on the show right now. All right, what else we got here? Da-da-da. For the record, just before anybody panics, there's constantly people talking about the banks are going to collapse. It's like any financial forecasting. Maybe.
That could happen. It could not. Who fucking knows?
Yeah. We saw all through Trump's years, the recession's coming. I promise it's any day now. It'll be here. And then finally COVID, and they're like, see, we told you the recession was coming.
Yeah, an artificial recession.
Yeah, fucking pieces of shit. Delaware Supreme Court strikes down voting by mail and same-day registration. Now, my guess would be this is based on their laws.
Well, we still have those?
Well, I mean, yeah, we do. There's a difference. Okay, we got to talk about this just briefly. There are times where these kind of things have gone before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's like, no, it's okay to have same-day voting. But that doesn't mean you automatically get same-day voting in all states. It's not like Roe v. Wade, where suddenly like, yes, everybody can kill a baby. It just means that states that have those laws can have those laws. Not all states have those laws. So this is what we saw in like in Pennsylvania with the rules about when the votes could come in. Pennsylvania could have had a law that said that. They just didn't have a law that says that. Because when it comes to deciding your voting laws, it's left up to the state legislatures. Court unanimously ruled against the laws in October, preventing no excuse required mail-in votings and same-day voter registration from being used in the November 8th general election, but it didn't make public a full opinion explaining the reasons until December 16th. Before that, on September 14th, the Court of Chancery of Delaware found that the state's mail-in voting practices violated the Delaware Constitution. Well, there you go. The Ken Blackwell a PILF? I'm not okay with that. PILF? No. A PILF board member and former Republican Secretary of State for Ohio added that election integrity should be an issue all Americans can support. This isn't a matter of election integrity. Sorry, guys, it's just not. There's definitely ways that same-day voter registration and voting by mail could be misused. But this is just simply a question of whether or not it's the law. The fact that this might be the first time a state Supreme Court has struck down a state election law this was an election law that they could do it. That's different. Oh, I missed this part. Christian Adams is the president of the Public Interest Legal Foundation. This was a monumental victory in the election integrity space. This is the first time a state Supreme Court has invalidated an election statute. The law violated the plain text of the... Oh, yeah, see, it's still... Constitution overrides the other laws. The law violated the plain text of the Delaware Constitution. Today's opinion is a victory for the rule of law in elections. So, yeah, it still violates the law. It's kind of like if the Congress of the United States passed a law. The Congress can pass laws, any laws they want to. But if they passed a law saying that it's illegal to call Joe Biden a fucking retard, it would be an illegal law because even though it was passed legally, it violates the Constitution. And this is what we've seen over and over again with these state laws where they violate the constitutions of their own states, or, governors just ignore the law in general.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. All they need to do, look, they can change their constitutions. They can. But they're trying to get ahead of it instead of doing it the right way. Look, I don't agree with it. I don't think mail-in voting should be for everybody. I'm not necessarily opposed to that, Jack, but you have to give me a very good reason why it makes more sense than having to go out and vote in person.
Yeah, there should be some civic responsibility and not just being a lazy shit.
And especially when you have things like early voting, where, okay, you go in and you can do your ballot a couple days in advance because of some polling places being too busy, maybe your work schedule sucks, whatever it is. They've made provisions to where you can still go vote in person. And as far as same-day voter registration, I will never agree with that. Ever, 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 ever.
Yeah, that's way too open to abuse.
Yep. The Democrat-controlled Delaware Assembly hurriedly passed the voting by mail law this past June after failing to secure enough Republican support to amend the state constitution. So not only did they do it, they knew what they were doing.
Yep, that's shady as shit. I'm actually surprised this got thrown out by the court.
I'm not, because it is such a clear violation. I'm actually more surprised, Jack. I know the legal system is fucked in many ways, but typically they make a lot of good decisions, and especially when it's something like violating a constitution, they tend to uphold. Even if they're like, okay, this is how you guys really need to do it, and spell it out for them in black and white so that next time it comes up, it's legal. But it is more shocking to me when they go along with this bullshit, like the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did. Lawmakers previously approved a separate voting by mail law during the pandemic, invoking emergency powers that allowed the statute to escape the usual constitutional scrutiny. So yeah, fuck them. They violated their constitution. I'm trying to see if they actually say what the constitutional wording is, and it doesn't say here. Oh, well, good for them for coming to the right conclusion. Whoops, we lost Jack. But yeah, good for them for doing the right thing. It's beyond time that we started having these state laws challenged properly. They got away with it during COVID, and they mentioned that in there. Emergency powers. There was no reason for all the emergency powers that were used during COVID. None. Zero, zilch. We did not have where we had to institute martial law. You could have went and fucking voted. You could have stood 6 feet apart from each other. But there's a push for this vote by mail thing. And I saw an interesting take that Donald Trump and his people were responsible for Republicans losing because they were telling people not to go vote by mail. Vote any way that you can legally. I don't care. I mean, if you're educated, if you're dumb, stay home. I don't want you voting at all. But you should use whatever's available to you. But I don't think you can point and go, it's because Republicans didn't vote by mail. That would assume that there was a whole bunch of people that on election day were like, shit, I just can't make it to the polls and I forgot. No. There's a reason that they want Democrats doing this. I got to be careful what I say here. Let's just say there's a reason Democrats want vote by mail. There is. And it's not because they care about every vote counting. It's absolutely not. And I will leave it to you to determine what that means. Oh, wow. Victims of terrorism sue Biden administration for sending taxpayer aid to the Palestinians. Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's wonderful. The Palestinians are fucking terrorists. All right. That's not bigoted, it's factual. Victims of Palestinian terror attacks are suing the Biden administration for awarding nearly $500 million in U.S. taxpayer funds to the Palestinian government, which allegedly uses these funds. Allegedly uses these funds to pay convicted terrorists and their families. Allegedly. The two controlling governments in Palestine, which isn't a real thing, are both terrorist organizations. That's fact. Jesus fucking Christ. The lawsuit filed in federal court on Tuesday by American victims of Palestinian terror attacks and Representative Ronnie Jackson, Republican from Texas, alleges the Biden administration is in violation of federal law for resuming U.S. aid to the Palestinian government, according to a copy of the lawsuit obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The Trump administration froze these funds due to the Palestinian government's support of terrorists as part of a program known as Pay to Slay. Why are we giving money to the Palestinians? Seriously, hate Israel all you want to. I don't give a fuck. But you will never convince me that the Palestinians are just good people, just out there trying to have a good time. They are fucking terrorists, and they've always been fucking terrorists. Hey, welcome back, Jack.
Thanks. My internet just cut out for no apparent reason.
I just did the Palestinian story, and I think we're going to wrap up here because if my satellite, I went out there today, Jack. Part of the reason I'm in pain is I went out to try to clear it off today, and there's not just snow on it; it is ice, and it's on a hill, and I slipped down it like 3 different times. So no promises on a game stream, guys, but I do want to try to get a game stream done. Yeah, that sucked. I don't know how I'm going to clear this off. Typically, it doesn't ice up like that. And we have a massive storm coming, Jack.
Yeah.
We're expecting feet of snow over the next couple of days.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only supposed to get like 10 inches.
No. I want to say it's over the next 4 or 5 days. Going into Saturday, we're expecting like 1.5 feet, 2 feet of snow, something like that.
Wow.
Michigan's like, you guys have had a couple of soft years when it comes to snow. Let's fuck with that. Let's make sure all of the rivers overflow when it comes to spring. There's a river around here where you can actually go watch it on really snowy years. You can go watch how just turbulent the water gets and how overflowing it is in a safe way. They didn't do it on purpose. It's just kind of how it ended up built.
Oh.
Yeah, and it looks scary. So we're gonna have one of those years. Yay. Stay away from the water. I DM'd your cousin a dish heating system. Yeah, I saw that. It has a power cord that I don't know how it would ever plug in. And like I said, it's never been a problem before with ice. A little bit of snow gets on there, you brush it off real fast. I've never seen it ice over before. So, thanks for the stream. It's more important to take care of you. I'll be all right. I mean, if I don't do this, I'm just going to go lay in bed and be miserable there. Earlier today, Lady Monkey, I was sitting in here and she came in like, baby, I just hurt. She goes, why don't you go lay down? Like, because I can't do it anymore. It hurts. I just need a break from hurting there so I can hurt here. Ow. Hopefully we'll get a game stream done. We'll have to see how the satellite works. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Sorry your government sucks.
Yeah.
It's not my doing. I had nothing to do with it, and I don't know how to stop them. I really don't. Here's the thing, Jack. Even if Rand Paul finds a way to stop this shit, I really don't think it's going to be much different when the Republicans get to make their bill.
No, McConnell's all on board with this crap.
And Biden as the presidency, you have Schumer controlling the Senate. It's just going to come out that, hey, the Republicans are being mean again if they did try to stop. So I will never stop saying this. The problem, as much as it is your government, the problem is your press. Because if they were honest about this shit, your politicians wouldn't get away with it.
Yeah.
The fourth estate stinks. Thank you guys for the donations. We really, really do appreciate it. I promise not to spend any of it on Ukraine. Jack, anything you want to show?
I'll drop a link to a cool video. As always, thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Drugs monkey. If only. It don't help, y'all. They help a little bit. They take the edge off, Jack. But is what it is. Twitch.tv/ranting monkey. I will test it as soon as we're done here to see how the satellite looks. I will tell you on Twitch within the next 20 minutes. That doesn't mean I'm going to be streaming within the next 20 minutes, but within 20 minutes, whether or not it looks like we're a go or not. Bubba, is this a Phasmo day? I think this is a Phasmo day. I never remember, so I need him to let me know in the chat.
Maybe.
We have fun over there on Phasmo, and we were able to get at least one more person in the other day. Says, yeah, I'm off. Cool. So it'll be a Phasmo day if we're over there. I hope to get it done. So thank you guys for watching. Jack, a pleasure as always.
Always glad to be here.
Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't done so. Hit the Rumble button if you haven't done so. And guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody. Don't forget Moonshock, Give, Send, Go.
Our government sucks. A big, hairy Ukrainian dick.